think it would sound cool with I'm in the right place.
He gave the sign.
Here we go. 1, 2.
Good morning, Spiritual Life Center. Welcome to the SLC Sunday Experience. I see you made your way through the marathon.
That's right, you made it.
So we're so glad that you're here, and you're not here by accident.
You're in the right place at the right time, just where you are meant to be. And we're going to sing about it. Here we go. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. In the right place, I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Good morning to those live streaming. You're in the right place at the right time. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome. Everybody, oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. I'm getting the message. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. 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 My soul is welcome. Everybody's welcome. My soul is welcome. My soul is welcome. Everybody's welcome. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
Good morning, Spiritual Life Center.
Good morning.
Your soul is welcome here, your body's welcome here, your brain, whatever you brought with you, welcome here. I'm Heather Estay, and this is the Reverend Deborah Phillips. And it's our privilege to greet you in the name of all that is sacred, all that is good, all that is holy, and in the warm and loving spirit of this ministry, Spiritual Life Center. This might be your first time with us. This might be your 20,000th time with us. It doesn't matter. You're here on purpose and for a purpose, and there's something especially for you today. I know it. Because you're not here by accident, but by
Divine appointment.
you're so well trained. And so now, since you're so well trained, would you please check your cell phones and make sure you've turned them off? Thank you.
And as we make that space for the silence, we take ourselves into prayer, centering ourselves in this place, in this time, into our heart centers, knowing that we are all here by divine appointment and that we are all here because we have something to share with each other. We have something to learn and then to go back out and share that again. And we know that we are guided by the one, the Holy Spirit, the light, the love, and the pure essence of all that is. And that is really, really the true miracle in all of our lives. And so it is. And as we have been for quite some time, is talking about the unity principles, we're actually reciting them so that we can integrate them more into our own consciousness, as well as giving us a way to help other people understand what it is we teach here. So let's say these together. God is absolute good and everywhere present. People are inherently good. Thoughts create our experiences. Prayer and meditation are how we connect with God. We must take action.
So now I get to introduce our special speaker today. And I know yay. Those of us who were at the first service, yay. It was great. And I know you'd rather hear from him than about him, but he's got a lot going on for him. He's a psychologist whose work centers around accessing the quantum field and reforming neural pathways in the brain to overcome our subconscious obstacles to healing and manifestation. Got it? Alrighty then. He's published several peer-reviewed studies on how group meditation positively affects surrounding communities, reducing crime and accidents and even suicides. He's presented his workshops to over 30,000 people in unity communities, and he's trained psychologists at military bases to help them with therapeutic work for soldiers who are coming back from conflicts and war. In his healing and manifestation workshop this afternoon and Monday evening, he's going to teach using techniques from heart math, quantum tapping, and also Ho'oponopono, which is the spiritual forgiveness practice of Huna, the indigenous spiritual path of the Hawaiian Islands. And we're doing all of that to connect to our quantum selves and release that which stands in the way of what we desire in life. Now, if you can't come to this afternoon's workshop, which I really hope you can, but if you cannot, then you can show up early tomorrow night, Monday at 5:30, and catch up. But now, help me welcome Dr. Garland Landrith. And also, if you're sticking around for the workshop, the choir has a lunch sale going on. There'll be items out there that you can purchase in the courtyard so you can have lunch. You don't even have to leave before you... It's in the kitchen. Okay.
It's soup.
It's soup. Anything else you'd like to say? It's good soup. Good soup. There's good soup in the kitchen, so you don't have to even leave before you go to the workshop. And then also next week, you can pick up your choir holiday cookie gift tray.
In the courtyard.
Maybe. It just might be. You want this? No.
Okay, well, Wednesday.
You're out of control
this,
up here.
Yeah, this Wednesday is one of our Talk the Walk episodes, and it's with Judy Frambro Billingsley, and her book is called Too Brown to Keep, a search for love, forgiveness, and healing. And she was born in Germany to a biracial family and then was given up and lived in an orphanage for a while before she was adopted and brought to the United States. And at some point, she decided to go in search of her biological family. And so the book tells that story, and we will have her here on Wednesday night and get to talk to her. I'll interview her, and then you'll get to ask her lots of questions, and she'll also have books to sign.
And now Rick Mercer is going to tell us a little bit about an upcoming Unity build.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for not sleeping in. I'm grateful to be part of this spiritual community, one that does outreach to our community. And one of those methods is through Habitat for Humanity. About 3 years ago, we started a Unity build. Actually, SLC did the first Unity build in 2005 with 5 other faith communities. We built a house in Oak Park. But 11 years later, it manifested, and 14 faith communities got together and built 2 houses on Cole Road. Well, we're building 2 more houses in Talek Village on Stone Drive. And something is happening much faster than I thought, and it's the wall raising event. And the wall raising event, and this is a wall raising event that I can embrace and get behind. Thank you very much. It's on Thursday. It's from 7:30 to 11:30, and it's one of the most exciting days of a Unity build when everyone comes together when we raise the walls for a house. We come in and there's a cement platform, and then you walk away and there's a house when you leave. And then at some point in time in spring, we'll hand the keys over to 2 families who've already been pre-selected for these houses, who also dedicate 500 hours of sweat equity to those houses. They're not given away. You have to work for them. And I also would like to introduce my co-partner, co-conspirator, not to embarrass her, but Pat Sandlin. Pat has built Habitat houses around the world, and she's really fun to talk to. She's got some amazing stories. I'll be in the courtyard for sign-ups if you would like to receive information. I did pick 2 build days for us. We are invested in this already, so if you're just by being here, you've already helped contributed to these 2 houses. So we have 2 Saturdays, January the 11th and January the 25th. And so I'll give you details in the courtyard. And there's nothing like handing the keys over from a house that we've built to 2 families who will make it their home. Thank you.
And just in case you've never done a habitat build, I've done some. In fact, the last one I did was with Pat. You don't have to be skilled. You've got some really skilled people there that will show you what to do and will keep you out of trouble and hand you a hard hat and everything, and it's very fun. So please consider joining the Unity Build. Also coming up this Christmas, we have the Advent Garden ceremony. How many of you have been to the Advent Garden? Yeah, a lot of us. It's beautiful. It honors the earth-based traditions of this season. And so it shows the rocks and the minerals and the plants and the animals, and you go through this labyrinth, and you have candles that are lit. It's just a gorgeous ceremony. It's going to be on Wednesday, and as usual, soup is at 6, and service is at 7.
And the women of spirit and men of spirit are coming together for a New Year retreat on January 4th, and J.G. Soul Messenger here is here to tell us all about it.
Good morning, SLC family.
Good morning.
There's a song that we sing here at SLC through the years, and I want to talk a little bit about the lyrics because it really ties in the workshop that I'm getting ready to do. And it goes like this, why have we come to earth? Do you remember? Why have we taken birth? Why have we come? It's to love, serve, and remember. Love each other, serve each other, and remember who we are and what we've come here to do. And so, 2020 is going to be a very important decade. As we step into 2020, it's going to be a very important time, and you'll hear more about that from our speaker. But it's important for us to realize where we're headed. And so come the first Saturday of the new decade, that's January 4th, I will be presenting a workshop called Magnificent Me 2020. It's the way that we show up. And what you get to do is design a storyboard, your unique storyboard that chronicles your whole life. And you look at 4 major areas in your life, early childhood memories, major milestones that you've had, all the roles that you've played throughout your life, mother, father, brother, sister, teacher, and whatever, and all the dreams and goals that you wanted to achieve. You're going to tell that story first from the ego's perspective, which looks at it from, this is what's happened to me, and, these are the things that I feel, have contributed to my life, and here are some of the disappointments that I've had, dreams and goals that I haven't realized or that I'm still hoping will come to me. But underneath that ego story is the soul story. And that's where the magic happens. That's where we come from the heart and look back over those 4 areas from the soul's point of view. No, this is what I chose. These are the things I came to heal, and these are the gifts that I bring to share with the planet, the gifts and the talents that we have. It's going to be a powerful workshop, a lot of sharing, a lot of one-on-one group sharing. But most of all, the beautiful part about it is you're going to design a soul logo, but also write your own sacred soul contract for 2020. So I'll be out in the courtyard. If anyone has any questions, do yourself a favor, give yourself this gift.
And JG, this is open to everyone, right? You don't have to be a regular Men of Spirit or regular Women of Spirit attendee. You can come anyway, right?
Everyone.
Right.
Oh, the Youth Ed jewelry sale is still going on. I don't think we wiped them out after first service, but we were close. There's the Margaret Stein collection. It continues, and it'll be again next Sunday, and you can find it in the kitchen area, right, Paula? I don't know.
It's in the kitchen area. So you can buy jewelry and eat soup at the same time.
Exactly.
So the Christmas prayer tree, this tradition that we are starting, because if you do something in a church one time, we've always done it that way. So we have always done this prayer tree that we're starting this year. And there are it's a really neat idea that Nancy Hilton came up with. And there are gift tags that are by the tree, and you can take a gift tag and write a prayer on it and attach it to the tree. We're going to be praying from the tree from the platform on Sundays, and the chaplains are going to take them and pray with them, and then they will also be sending them to Unity Village, so they'll be prayed for another 30 days after that. So let's decorate that tree with prayers.
That's a lot of prayer power on every little prayer.
It is.
So now I'd like to introduce some special people, well, our ambassadors, board of trustees, and prayer chaplains. Please stand up. So our ambassadors are those jolly, jolly people who have the rainbow ribbons. And they're here to greet you. We know it's not easy to come into a new community. So we want to make sure you're greeted and can get connected, find ways to get connected. So these are perfect people, these ambassadors. So please access them after the service. And then our board of trustees. Our board of trustees spend a lot of their time focusing on the business of this church to keep us sustainable and thriving through the years. And it's a great service. So our board of trustees are here, thank you. And then also our prayer chaplains. These are those powerful prayers that you want to access, whether it's times of celebration or times of grief, times of whatever. These people will be happy to pray with you in the back of the sanctuary or in the courtyard after the service.
If you're here for the very first time, in a moment we're going to ask you to raise your hand, but we want you to know there are many, many ways to become connected here at SLC. The people that Heather has just introduced are a good way to start. We're also going to give you a card that you can fill out legibly, and you can either put it in the offering basket or take it out to the welcome table, which is right around the corner outside, and if you do that, you have a very, very special gift.
So now, if you're here for the very first time, would you please raise your hand at this point? Anybody here for the first time? Hi. Hi. Great. We welcome you. And we'll be giving you a purple ribbon, and we ask that you wear it by your heart. It's a magic ribbon that'll make sure that you get greeted properly and welcomed into this community. So now let's stand and greet our newcomer and each other.
We invite you to stay standing and join us in singing our group song, Everything That I Need. To know about what lies before me is available to me through the mind of God in me. Are we ready? Yeah. Everything that I need to know about what lies before me, everything that I need to know about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me in the mind of God within me. Try it. Everything that I need to know about what lies before me, everything that I need to know about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me in the mind of God within me. Take it up. Everything that I need to do about what lies before me, everything that I need to do about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me through the mind of God within me. We're going up. Everything that I need to release about seated.
Oh, you did that so beautifully and quietly. That was amazing. Oh, so now let's just take a nice deep breath together. And now we're going to speak together our vision statement. Spiritual Life Center is a loving, vibrant family that welcomes home all people and accepts everyone, no exceptions, weaving ancient spiritual traditions with emerging wisdom. We cultivate a spiritual deepening with the divine, each other, and our planet.
And now, in preparation for meditation, we invite you to sing with us this beautiful chant written by Paula, Radiant Star. Together.
I am a radiant star of peace. All thoughts of aggression in me cease. In every deed and word I speak, see the light of this world, the light of this world, see the light of this world increase. Yes, I am a radiant star of peace. All thoughts of aggression in me cease. In every deed and word I speak, see the light of this world, the light of this world, see the light of this world increase. Yes, I am a radiant star of peace. All thoughts of aggression in me cease. In every deed and word I speak, see the light of this world, the light of this world, see the light of this world increase. Yes, I am a radiant star of peace.
I'd like to invite you to put your right hand over your heart, your left hand over that, and we'll stay in this pose for the whole meditation. And we'll sit comfortably, close our eyes, and start off by taking a deep breath into the heart. And releasing. Another deep breath into the heart. And releasing. I want you to think of someone or something you feel love towards. Could be your doggy, your kitty, your significant other, your munchkins. feel that love. Releasing it into a flow by letting thoughts come and go. My spirit is awakening. I feel my love expanding throughout the whole universe, connecting me with the stars and the galaxies. I've got stardust in my soul. The same divine love that created this whole universe is flowing within me. I'm being held in the arms of God. I am safe. I am truly, truly blessed by all the gifts that are already on their way. Thank you, God. I love you. Let Let's start by taking another deep breath into the heart. And releasing. Another deep breath into the heart. And releasing. Another deep breath into the heart. And releasing. You might want to wiggle your toes. And this will lead us into our next song.
Used to think this world was just as it seemed. I went crazy when I tried to change it. But after many years and miles, I finally come to realize I can simply change my mind to rearrange it. And what I believe, what I believe is true for me. And what I believe, what I believe is true may not be true for you. I learn what seems to be is not reality, 'cause whatever we desire, we will see it. But we can get past this reflection to the mirror of the heart, where our vision of this world is blessed by spirit. So what I believe, what I believe, what I believe is true for me. And what I believe, what I believe, what I believe is true may not be true for you. Illusion wears me down after a while. Delusion would make me drown in denial. So if everything we see is only a dream, I must wake myself from this hallucination. 'Cause when we come awake, we understand only love remains. And we bring this love to every situation. So what I believe, what I believe, what I believe is there is only love for me. And what I believe, what I believe, what I believe is true is there's only love for you. And what I believe, what I believe, what I believe is true is there's only love for me and you. Love for me and you.
Wow. Just feel like I went to a concert. You guys have amazing. I've been in a lot of churches. Trust me, you guys have you've been spoiled. I was at the Posse Fest and I did a tapping and heart math concert. I think we should do it here. Yeah, I mean, I need somebody that's a good singer. Yeah, I don't do the singing. I just do the tapping and the heart. Yeah. Seriously, I think it'd be fun. So, and you know, it's been like 10, 12 years since I've been here. You have a new minister, Reverend Trapp, and awesome. And I had a chance to talk to him. My brother lives up here, so I come to family. So I went around and visited him for about 40 minutes. Unbelievable. This man was in charge of all of Unity. And he decided, you know, as a corporate, you know, whatever. And he came down here because he wanted to help people grow and fulfill themselves. And I just love his passion. But it's interesting. He's very genuine and he cares. I mean, that speaks volumes right there. He just cares. And I think you can feel it in his vibe, so to speak. So I was really glad you guys got him. Today we're going to talk about miracles. Scientists hate the idea of miracles. Because when a miracle happens, a law of nature gets violated. But the truth of the matter is, in quantum physics, miracles happen all the time. Let me give you some examples. One law of nature is an object can't be in two different places at the same time, right? Wrong. If an electron is circling an atom and nobody's watching it, it magically turns into energy waves. So not only is it in two different places at the same time, because energy is beyond time and space, it's everywhere at the same time. Okay? We're going to get back to that in just a minute. The second example is a huge one. Einstein's law of relativity is the basis of modern physics. And the number one rule of it is nothing can go faster than the speed of light. Two very famous physicists by the name of Schrödinger and Heidelberg proposed a theory called quantum entanglement. And this was in 1931. And the quantum entanglement is kind of interesting because you have a couple electrons that's circling an atom. They become quantumly entangled, which means beyond time, space limitations. So even if you were to separate them by 1 trillion miles, for instance, if you pushed on one of them, the other one would instantaneously go in the exact same direction. In fact, so instantaneously, they'd be communicating faster than the speed of light. So Einstein hated this theory. At one point, he called it spooky action at a distance. So in 1981, I believe, he was proven wrong. And then they redid the experiment in the new cyclotron in Switzerland, and they found that not only did the two electrons communicate faster than the speed of light, it was 10,000 times faster than the speed of light. If you're going to break a law of nature, you might as well go all the way. But the spookiest thing in physics is actually the idea that consciousness itself is the ultimate force of the universe, the quantum field. Now, this kind of gets a little complicated, so I'm going to try to explain it to you as best I can. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but in case anybody gets lost, don't worry about it. I'm going to use some analogies to help you understand it. But basically, most of you have seen the movie What to Bleep. They were shooting little balls of electrons through that slit. Remember that? There was an eye there. Now, they didn't do a good job explaining it, so I'm going to try to explain it a little better. And on the back wall was a one line with all those little balls on it. They took away the eye. Now, the eye represented consciousness. So when you take it away, it means there's no consciousness. And what happened? There were 16 lines. So how can one line turn into 16 lines? Doesn't make any sense. Well, what they discovered was that energy and matter are intertwined. They're two parts of the same whole. If you have consciousness, it collapses energy waves into particles. Without consciousness, you can't have particles. Without particles, you can't have people. You can't have galaxies. You can't have stars. So in other words, consciousness is the key. Consciousness is the ultimate creative force of the universe. This is huge. It's kind of like this example. Now, energy acts differently than particles. If you take a couple of pebbles and drop them in a pond, they create waves, and the waves start and they hit each other, then they produce waves, then they produce waves, and they hit each other. Pretty soon you got 16 waves. Energy waves interfere with each other. That's why you end up with 16 lines. So, what does this mean? It means there's consciousness in this universe that's creating something out of nothing. Another way to look at it is nothing. So, who is this conscious? I think it's God. I think physics in a roundabout way has discovered God. But here's the interesting thing. We have consciousness. Is our consciousness the same as that force that created the whole universe? I'm going to cite in the next 10, 15, 20 minutes 1,000 studies that prove that our consciousness can also create miracles. And I categorize them in 4 different groups to make it simple. The first group is the prayer research, which, by the way, Unity has been an active participant in. And one of the reasons I love Unity Church so much is they participated in these scientific discoveries with prayer. And, believed in a message so much so they just subjected it to scientific scrutiny. The second group is the research that was done on meditation, which is the research that I was involved with. I did that way back in the 1980s, first person to get any of those done. We even published them in mainstream journals, even more amazing. Third group is the research that shows that we can know things before they happen. And the fourth group is the research that shows that consciousness can even influence machines, from Princeton. So let's start with the prayer research. Now, we're all familiar with the studies done way back in the 1980s. They'd pray for one ward of the hospital. They didn't pray for the surrounding wards. The wards they prayed for get well faster, have less need of antibiotics, better quality of life, and in some cases, less deaths than the surrounding wards. Now, scientists poo-pooed all this old research. They said that what was really going on was the people doing the praying happened to pick the ward of the hospital, had the best doctors and the best nurses. And they were real good at figuring out which of those wards had the best doctors and best nurses. Of course, I'm being facetious here. And so eventually they started doing double-blind studies. Now, double-blind is the Cadillac version of research. I think the first one was done in 1988. And they did 250 of these. Now, the double-blind means you pray for one group, you don't pray for the other group. The group you pray for is randomly assigned and throughout the whole hospital, as well as the other group. And nobody knows which group they're in. And you do the research that way. And guess what? They found that out of these 250 studies, only 3 of them did not come out significant, but all the rest came out significant. In other words, prayer research worked. So, scientists were forced to make another conclusion. He said, how can this thing work? So what they decided was that prayer is really positive thinking. Now think about it. Is prayer positive thinking, or is it something else? Now we all know the value of positive thinking. You can't be coming to this amazing church without knowing the value of positive thinking. But is prayer just positive thinking, or is it something else? Okay? Well, Unity Church did a study in 1999 at Kansas City, which is the home of Unity, by the way. And they took a hospital there, and they did a prayer study on everybody that entered the hospital in a 6-month period. But it was an unusual twist. They prayed for people, but didn't tell them they were praying for them. Now, let's say I'm sick, and Reverend Trapp is praying for me, and I get well faster because he's praying for me. But he doesn't tell me he's praying for me. If he doesn't tell me, I can't have positive thoughts about it, right? They did a whole study like that. Nobody knew they were in a study. And guess what? Same results as the other prayer research studies. So this blew a lot of people's minds. So they did another triple-blind study in Colombia, out of New York. And they had people praying for people in Korea. So somehow the prayers had to go through molten rock and whatever else is in the middle of the world and arrive at the right person in Korea. And it was a unique study in a couple ways. First of all, it was a long distance, and second of all, it was a women's in vitro fertilization clinic. Women trying to get pregnant. And again, the women didn't know they were being prayed for. And what they found was the women who were being prayed for had a 50% greater chance of getting pregnant than the women who weren't being prayed for. And they didn't know they were being prayed for. So pretty amazing. Brings up a whole new dimension to the idea of immaculate conception, but we won't touch that one. But here's the spookiest thing about prayer. There is no energy emanating from our brain, electromagnetic field, that can account for these amazing results. In other words, praying for somebody 10 feet away, much less 100 miles away, is equally effective. But, according to the research, there is no energy. The energy emanating from our brain is very weak. It doesn't get past our skull bones. So this is one of those quantum things, one of those spooky action at a distance kind of things that Einstein was talking about. Because there's nothing we can measure. Okay, now this relates back to the second group, which is the group on meditation. That's the group that I was involved with. And those of you who saw the movie What to Bleep, we took 4,000 transcendental meditators into Washington, D.C. to prove that we could change the crime rates. Now, this research, as I mentioned, was started way back, and we did 20 studies before we went out there. And every one of them came out significant. So we were pretty sure it would work. Now, we were so sure, in fact, we told the mayor, who was Mayor Barry, he was the cocaine mayor that had been rehabilitated, right? And then there was, we told the police chief, we told the newspapers. That's how sure we were it was going to work. And if it didn't work, they would have poo-pooed all of our older research. But so while we were there, we'd all meditate together in one big room, 4,000 of us. And we'd start about 8 o'clock in the morning, and then we'd go all the way till about 1, then we'd take a break till about 3, and then come back at 7. Come back at 3 and then meditate till 7. So, and during this time, we'd all be in the same room. Interesting. Now, many people have asked me how we did it. In fact, I get that question all the time. And they always assume that we must have been thinking about crimes, because you can't reduce crimes without thinking about crimes, right? And you say, no, I think you're right. We never once thought about crimes. We never once thought about crimes. We got out of the way. We let the divine flow through us. Because you can't get to the quantum by trying to get there. The ultimate irony is the quantum is everywhere, but you can't get there by trying. So it throws out all those ideas about intentions. Here's one of my favorite quotes from Charles Fillmore, one of the co-founders of Unity Church. Surrender the results. Surrender the results. That's what we did. We surrendered the results. Now, the next group of research studies is also very amazing. This one is kind of more of a psychic research study that was done about 12 years ago. And this one was done by accident because it didn't come out very nicely the way they thought. But what happened was they had a bunch of TVs, and people were in front of the TVs, and all they had to do was guess in advance which photograph was going to come up on the screen. And there was 2 types of photographs. One was negative and one was positive. The positive ones were people in nature scenes, beaches, whatever. The negative ones were people in morgues, very gruesome kind of photos. And unfortunately, the study found that nobody could guess in advance which of those 2 photographs would come up. But lucky for us, that's not the end of the story. Because the negative photo was so negative, they decided to hook people up to something called the GSR machine. What it does, it measures anxiety through the skin, similar to a lie detector. And what they anticipated was every time the negative photo would come up, there'd be a spike of anxiety afterwards. Makes sense? Because it's really gruesome. And so what they found was something amazing. When they did the research study and tabulated all the results, what they found was there was a spike of anxiety, but it happened before the negative photo was presented, but not before the positive one. In other words, our body knew what was going to happen before it happened. Remember that old adage, I knew it in my gut? There's a lot of truth to it. It's in your body. So nobody believed the study, so they redid the study again and found the same results. Then they looked inside the brain in a different laboratory, and they found the whole brain would light up with anxiety about 4 seconds before the negative photo was presented. Unbelievable. Well, nobody did anything with this research for 10 years. Until about 2.5 years ago, a very famous psychologist by the name of Dr. Bem decided to revisit it. He's in all the psychology textbooks. I've taught a bunch of psychology classes, and he's always in there. So he did the study 10 times. 9 of them came out significant. The chances of that happening by sheer chance alone is 1 in 4 billion. So he submitted it to the Journal of Social Psychology. a very conservative psychology journal. And they accepted it. But they had a big caveat at the top of the journal. They said, well, we don't know what's going on here. I mean, it doesn't make any sense that we could know things before they happen. So he had to make a mistake. Maybe you can help us figure out what he did wrong, because we couldn't figure out what he did wrong. So meanwhile, in the last year and a half, 2 years, all these psychologists are trying to figure out what he did wrong. Personally, I think it's a wonderful thing that's happening, because psychology is finally entering the quantum age, where time and space have no meaning. It's huge. Now, the last group of research studies is that proves that consciousness can even influence machines. Was done by a bunch of scientists and engineers from Princeton. And this one was kind of intriguing. What they did was, their theory was, okay, if our consciousness is quantum field-based, let's build a quantum field-based machine. Maybe they can interact with each other. So that's exactly what they did. They built a quantum-based machine. And it was using cosmic radiation from outer space. Cosmic radiation is very, very reliable. In fact, you can run atomic clocks on it. And as a result, the machine they built had an output of 101010. And they took college freshmen, had them concentrate on the machines to see if they could change the output from 101010 to 111 or 000. And after hundreds of thousands of trials, they did indeed find a significant effect, but it's very weak. Personally, I don't know how they manage it, because I remember I was a freshman in college. I could barely get out of bed, much less influence a quantum field random number generator. So that's what they did. So then they had a brilliant idea. Let's put 4 or 5 of these kids together and see if they can have a stronger effect. And that's what they found. The more people doing it, the stronger the effect. In other words, something like a collective consciousness here. So they put them out in the world, all these machines. And what they found was the machines measure the collective consciousness. Okay? So, for instance, the opening ceremonies of the Olympics. Billions of people watch those ceremonies. And the machines go crazy. Instead of 1010, they go 111 or 000. We don't know which direction they're going to go. Another example, Katrina, remember the hurricane? The tsunami, the OJ trial verdict, remember that one? In other words, there's 250 of these episodes on their website. Whenever we're doing the same thing at the same time, the machines start operating differently. In other words, this is kind of independent proof of the collective consciousness. So here's the intriguing thing now. These machines were going during 9/11. 2 amazing things happened during 9/11. First of all, the machines went crazy for 4 straight days. Yeah, and then the second amazing thing is they started going crazy 4 hours before 9/11 actually happened. That means we knew what was going to happen as a collective before it even happened. That's before the terrorists got in the airplanes. So what we've done is outline in about 20 minutes the idea that our consciousness is the same as that consciousness that's creating the whole universe. We're kind of proving the idea of co-creator from the Unity Church. And that we have a lot more abilities than we think. We're not helpless. So, what are the main conclusions we can make from this? First of all, life after death. I'm going to give you like 4 main conclusions, otherwise we'd spend our whole day talking about this. But the first one is life after death. If our consciousness is not brain-based but quantum-based, that means when we die, our consciousness doesn't have to die. Because there's parts of it that are beyond time and space. And that's what this research has proven. In other words, time and space have no meaning in certain states of consciousness. This is huge. This is one of the huge quests of all humankind, is to find out some kind of proof about life after death. This is definitely independent proof. Second major conclusion, we're all connected. We're all connected. We come together and we meditate together. We are connecting because the research proves that individuals in here can affect the outside world by simply withdrawing inside. Their inner world is connected to the outside world. In other words, we're connected in some way through this quantum stuff. One of my favorite neuroscientists is Jill Bolte Taylor from Harvard. And she had a stroke that shut down her left hemisphere. And instead of being in agony, she was in ecstasy. She had the traditional mystical experiences. In fact, she had 6 strokes. She said the only reason she came back to this earthly plane was to let people know, you got to get out of your left hemisphere. Now, what's the left hemisphere? The left hemisphere is the monkey part of your brain. It's the part that always thinks when you want to meditate. It's always, you can't stop it. It keeps going and going and going and going. So she had it real easy. She just stroked and then she was there. So here's the thing that really struck me, though. She said for the first time in her life, when she had this stroke, she wasn't alone. She wasn't alone. The first time in her life. We're all connected. We're all connected. Now, that brings us to the third conclusion. Together, we can make a bigger difference than we can alone. When we come together and we meditate here together, not only are we helping ourselves, we're helping change the world. We are not helpless. We can do something very concrete about the world. We have to learn to stop the war inside. Those negative thoughts inside are creating negative thoughts in the outside world. We have to learn to release them and be in the love flow, what I call the love flow. So, and it's working. Just the other day, I saw another poll on gay marriage. 65% of the people in America are now for it. Just 2 years ago, 65 were against it, and all of our ex-presidents were against it. This is huge. There's a shift in the collective consciousness. It wasn't done by political, it wasn't done by demonstrations. It was done by people meditating and getting into higher states of consciousness, especially groups like this. It's huge. In other words, together, we can change everything. A lot of people say, well, look at all this negativity. It's not just here in the States. It's everywhere. Nobody is safe now. So what we have to do is we have to do these techniques so that we become safe, so that the outside world starts becoming safe. And that's what we can do. We have the power to do this. And lastly, but not least, everybody in here at one point or another has doubts. We do. It's so refreshing to be living in a time when science is proving spirituality. And we are disproving all those doubts. In a sense, science is paving the way. It's exciting times. In fact, the most exciting times that have ever been around. We're changing. We are moving in the direction of greater compassion and greater love. And we should be thanking ourselves for helping us get there, because everybody doing their work is making a huge difference. We're going through the shift. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you again for inviting me. Thank you. Appreciate that. Now, I wanted to say a couple words about the seminar. One of the questions I ask in all my seminars is how many people know what their problems are, but they keep making the same mistakes over and over again? And almost everybody raises their hands. It's not your fault. These are old brain pathways. In your subconscious, it means you're not aware of them. So how are we going to change them if we're not aware of them? Well, we have techniques now that can do this. We're going to teach you tapping, and heart math is very similar to the meditation we did. And also, we're going to do inner child work. It'll be entirely different than what we did when I was here 10 years ago. But it works. And so what we're going to do is we're going to get you in a higher state of consciousness in just 1 minute so that you can get out of the way and channel the divine. And then you'll be able to create the life of your dreams. But we're also going to teach you how to get rid of those subconscious blocks that have been holding you back. And remember, when you want something, you're attracting lack. So we're going to take you from that point of lack and intention into something where you're giving in a higher state of consciousness. And then we're going to release it into the quantum. So we're going to show you all that stuff. If you can't make tonight's seminar, it's a 2-day seminar. You can do tomorrow, come a little early. Or you can do CDs and DVDs. I also have MP3 files, which you can take home with you if you can't make either of the 2 seminars. Ideally, to take both days if you can. I'm keeping it real cheap. It's $49, $39. We need numbers. We can see the problems around us. We need numbers. We need people doing these techniques. We can do it. That's my main message. We can do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and stay for the rest of the story. Next week, Reverend James will be back, and he is going to bring us into the Christmas season with the power of your holy name. And also, and by the way, we have a very special arrival here at SLC. We have a potential baby Jesus in a few years. Autumn, please. Please meet George Winston Gardner Garland Landrith. I just love the lips. And so as we move into our time of love offering, we know that we open our hearts and our minds and our souls to keeping everything in circulation. And whether it's time, treasure, talent, if you give with EFT, it is all still blessed, and we will say our blessing together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God.
Took a little walk after midnight. Nobody else was around. I didn't go far, I just needed the stars to shine on me and help me see, catch on. When will we all catch on to the glory of love? Tell me, what do you think we're living here for? Minds can move mountains if you just catch on. Looking out over the ocean, every little drop is a light, but it couldn't be done without being as one. Just like the sea, will humanity catch on? When will we all catch on to the glory of love? Tell me, what do you think we're living here for? Minds can move mountains if we just catch on. Catch on. When will we all catch on to the glory of love? Tell me, what do you think we're living here for? Minds can move mountains. Minds can move mountains if we just catch on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love will lead the way. Love will lead. Love will lead the way. Catch on. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey. Ooba, ooba, ooh. Come on, take it to the people. Shine on me, help me see, just catch on. Don't take too long. Open up and show your love. Come on, show your love. Come on, show your love. Ooh. Shine on me, help me see, tell me, what do you think we're living here for? Minds can move mountains. I said minds can move
we just catch on.
And we give thanks for this offering, knowing that it continues the work and expands all our light in all ways and all times and forevermore. Amen. Let us join together in singing our Let There Be Peace.